Is the GT710 as bad as people say it is, or is it just misunderstood and used for the wrong reason? Let us find out, shall we? Hello gamers and welcome back to the channel. Today we take a look at the GT710 and figure out just who this card was made for and if it has any values for gamers. Full disclosure, I do know of a couple games this GPU can run, but for this test I opted to go for some that I thought would have some issues and try to get a good frame, or at the very least make the game at least playable on this legendary piece of hardware. Before we begin, let us look at what makes this GPU what it is and why most gamers shit on it, and does it have any value at all for gamers. This card comes with a 192 CUDA cores, a base clock of 954 MHz, which we overclock to 1245 MHz just to give this card a bit of an edge. 2GB of DDR3 memory with a DirectX 12 support, which is very good. This paired with a 16GB DDR4 clocked at 1300 MHz and an i7-6700K to make sure the GPU was not bottlenecked in any of the games tested. If this video gets more than 50 likes, I will do a tutorial on how to overclock this card and still get good temperatures and perhaps 5 to 10 more frames in some of your favorite games. With all this out of the way, let us get to testing, shall we? GTA 5 has been a long time favorite game of mine with roughly about 1000 hours in game. I was super curious to find out if the GT710 would be able to play this game. With 720 resolution and normal settings, we were getting frames from anywhere between 28 to 34 with the occasional 40 frames. I must say I didn't expect the game to look as good as it did. Details were super nice and sharp. There were no input lags, so yes, the GT710 can play GTA 5. I am very happy with this one. Borderlands 3 was up next with 720p resolution and low settings preset. Plus a 50% resolution scaling. The game delivered a solid 30 frames with some instances of 40 and even 45 frames. Again, the level of details here was surprisingly good. With just like the GTA 5, the game was quite responsive with no input lag. This also is a win for the GT710. If you're liking what you see so far, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button and follow for more content. Subscribe guys, there is more ahead of this channel. Far Cry New Dawn on the GT710 with a 720p resolution and a 50% resolution scaling coupled with the low settings preset. We were seeing frames from anywhere between 18 to 20 frames, with sometimes going up to 25. This was not as much as I had expected, and to be honest, I was kind of disappointed with the performance we got here. I believe there are still some hidden performance we can get from this game, and I would look into it. Perhaps we need to lower the resolution just a bit more to get that 20 to 30 FPS. We will do that in another video just to see how far we can push the GT710. Overwatch 2, or should I say Overwatch 1.2, was tested again with the 720p resolution and with the low certain preset. This gave us around 25 to 35 frames with dips within the 20 margin. This game requires at least 60 FPS to have any chance of success, as this is quite a competitive game. In hindsight, as I was editing the video, I realized I could have brought the resolution scaling down and there probably would have been a lot more frames than what we had. I am truly sorry, and I will make a dedicated video on this and make sure to show the full potential of the graphic card and the frames it is capable of on Overwatch 1.2. I mean Overwatch 2. The visuals were a bit on the low side and there was a huge input lag, and for some weird reason the mouse had low DPI, making aiming and fighting so much difficult. Sifu gave us around 50 to 60 frames when tested with a 1080p resolution and ultra settings, with everything being low. Sifu was a bit of an exception for our testing, as it was the only game that we tested in 1080p ultra textures and 50% resolution scaling, providing a visually pleasing game and also a smooth gameplay. There were no input lags, and I died because I suck at this game. First boss, and I'm already 40 years old. Really? We tested Devil May Cry 5 on the GT710 on the 720p resolution, 50% resolution scaling, and the low settings preset. This gave us around 25 to 29 frames and sometimes would drop to about 20 or 18. I am sure you have also noticed that the game is kind of in a slow motion even though the frames are higher. I did not slow down the video during editing, the game just behaves like this for some weird reason. If anyone knows why this is, please leave the answer in the comment section below. It would help me a lot to figure out what to do next time doing our testing. Cry Primal was tested with a 720p resolution and low settings just like the other games before it. This provided us a solid 13 to 14 frames and dips to 10. This was a game I expected to run a lot better than what it did on the GT 710. Maybe I need to get my expectation in check, but this isn't this game like 10 years old or something. Despite this, there were no input lags and the level of details in game was very good. Too good in fact. Anyways, if you wanted to ride tigers and bears in this game and you have a GT 710, I'm sorry, it ain't happening. Unless you are like me and 13 FPS is all you need to ride those bears. Assassin's Creed Roque provided us with the 30 to 40 frames when tested with 720p resolution and a low certain preset. It was also very smooth and there was no input lag. Level of details was phenomenal and the frames never dropped below 30, which is to me a win for the GT 710. I never really had a chance to play this game much when it came out, but it was a lot of fun to play and test this game. I do have some hours on Origin and Odyssey though, which is also a very fantastic game. We might check it out on the channel in the near future. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered was tested with a 720p resolution and low certain preset. This yielded a solid 13 to 20 frames. In defense of the game, it looked good. The level of details was insane, almost too good. Made me forget this game was even old. Then I remembered it was a remaster. That's just about the good now. Now let's go to the bad part of the game. There was a huge input delay and the mouse was spin out of control. I tested the game with my GTX 980 to see if the problem would persist, but it was gone. I think it's a software issue. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Hellblade Sunais. Sunaus. Oh well, we tested this game on low settings, 27p resolution, FSR set to performance. With this, we had frames between 20 to 27. The visual was pleasant and provided a smooth gameplay with no input lag. This game is a masterpiece with how they make players tackle puzzles and the unique combat it offers. Sekiro, another Souls-like game to make you go insane. Bravo. Anyways, Sekiro on the GT 710 docked the shit out of this GPU, providing the lowest frames we've had seen so far during our testing. 720p with low settings provided a shocking 10 to 13 frames. You would think this would have been a major problem, but surprisingly it wasn't. There were no input lags, game looked great, and I was even able to kill some enemies and got murdered just after I had said this. Nice going, DJ. The forest was up next to be tested. I tested this game with again the 720p resolution and the low certain preset, netting us about 12 to 20 FPS. Despite this, the game was kind of playable if you don't mind the slideshow, and it looked incredible, plus there were no input lags. I did almost pee my pants when that baby jumped at me. Whew. If you made it this far, type baby scare in the comment section below. Let's see how many of you guys make it to this part of the video. Oh no, please don't do this. Just let me record in peace. And why are my bullets bouncing off you? Meet my little friend. Ha! Got it into my mouth. Would have been shocked if this game did not get these good frames on this GPU. I have gotten it to work even on worse hardware. 720p low settings, 25% resolution scaling, got about 30 to 35 frames with the occasional drop to 27. Visual was great and the gameplay was smooth. There were no input lags present during the testing as well. Dauntless is all about killing monsters and looking good whilst doing it. Unfortunately, the GT710 only managed to do just one of these things, killing the game whilst looking like a homeless squirrel looking for nuts. We tested this game with 720p resolution with 50% resolution scaling, providing about 30 frames with drops to 27. I am sorry, I forgot to record the settings a bit, and the video was getting kind of late. That's aside, the GT710 can't play this game if you are willing to lower the visuals. Another win for the GT710 in my books. In conclusion, the GT710 is not a beauty queen in the GPU world, but it's got its spunk. It's the underdog graphic card, perfect for gamers who care more about playing than pixel counting. Would I recommend buying one? Let's just say keep that receipt handy. If you already got it, don't fret. Some games will run without setting your PC on fire. Bottom line, the GT710 won't dethrone itself as one of the worst GPUs, but it proves there's still room for lovable losers in tech. It's not the hero we deserve, but for some, it's the hero we are stuck with.